Broadcasting live from sunny California, it's 10 Minutes in Tinseltown with Ms. Meliz, a.k.a. Melissa Reyes. And now, from the left corner, your host, Melissa Reyes.
Thank you so much for coming. Welcome to 10 Minutes in Tinseltown with Ms. Meliz. I'm Melissa Reyes. I have with me Jay, Gene Wilder's hair, and our special guest, Ann Parris, who is on Twitter as not a supermom, but I know she happens to be a total supermom. So, welcome to 10 Minutes in Tinseltown, Ann.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. Cheers.
Yeah, tea. Water. It's water.
Cheers. Tea.
Mine is not lemonade. So, why don't you take a few moments to introduce yourself, Ann, and tell me a little bit about what you do out in blogosphere.
Well, I have my personal blog, notasupermom.com, and I've been blogging for 4 or 5 years. I can't remember. But then for about the last 2 years with a business partner, I publish an online site, a lifestyle site for women over 40 and over 50 called midlifeboulevard.com. And we have the only conference just for women over 40 called Bloggers at Midlife, BAM. And we have our second conference next year in Las Vegas in April. Very excited.
I don't know if we're going to be talking about like the symptoms of menopause or anything, but I think we'll be talking a lot about the support that women give. And I think that's what you provide. And
it's a lot more important than talking about hot flashes, although it's nice to have a place, I'm sure, talk about that too. Yeah, it's 100 degrees today in Virginia. Everyone's having a hot flash here. So what we do is we provide a community for women who write/blog. And I think it's very important because I didn't start blogging till I was over 40, right at 40. And I would go to conferences, and I love conferences. I still go to a ton of conferences. But I would be there, and I asked a brand representative once, what are you looking for when you're looking for a blogger to hire right now? And he said, ideally, we're looking for a woman pregnant with her first child that we can work with through the pregnancy and afterwards. And I was like, well, then give me a time machine back to the early 90s because, sorry, I missed that boat. And it just felt like everybody had 6 and 8 year olds, and they were 32 years old, and that's great, but I could never do that again. I mean, it's too late. So, and there are a lot of us. There are a lot of us bloggers over 40 and over 50 looking for a place where we can connect.
Yeah. Well, I personally really enjoy it because the maturity in the room when we have chats or in the Facebook group, and even when we met and we had lunch in Las Vegas at the Mets, I felt very comforted because I don't have any older sister. My sister died and my mother died, and I don't really have anybody to talk to about what I'm going through. And wait, that's 2 things. Sorry. It's the maturity in the room and the experience that people have that come in with their amazing careers, what they have done in their life, the writing, the journalistic background, the quality of writing that I enjoy, and the comfort of saying, they know what I'm going through.
And we're not all mothers. We're not all married. But the thing we have in common is we have a lot of experience in our chosen field. In our group, we have women who've been magazine editors and professional writers and journalists for decades, literally for decades. And it's a new era of publishing, and they're making a move and having to learn new skills. And, it's a lot to take in at once. Meerkat, Hootsuite, all WordPress or Blogger, it's a lot of tech to learn.
Right. And so, I'll be in a lot of other blogger groups where everyone is really tech savvy, but yet doesn't have that writing experience or doesn't have that life experience. So it's really a pleasure to meet. I just like meeting people all over the place. So we met online, and then we met standing next to each other in a line.
That's right. It was so funny. It was pretty random, too. We were waiting to go into the keynote at NMX, for, who was it? It was Pat Flynn, for Pat Flynn's keynote, which was excellent. That was one of the best keynotes I've ever seen.
Yes. Our blogging bonanza, which I like to call for anybody who's into blogging, and also an inspiring story. And I'm curious about how you got started and what made you decide to do with the Midlife Boulevard and it all grew from there. But how did you get started?
In Midlife Boulevard, well, I had been introduced to another writer at Blog Her, another blog conference, and we had worked together on a project, and then we spun off onto a new project almost 2 years ago, and it's been Sharon Greenthal. She is a great writer. Her blog is Empty House, Full Mind, and she's just, the yin to my yang.
Ah.
She's good at everything I'm not good at.
That's Sharon, did you say? Susan or
Sharon.
She's the one.
Sharon
Birthday.
Greenthal. Yes, she says. So we have a private Facebook group just for women writers, and every single day Sharon tells everybody happy birthday if it's their birthday. She's great.
That's awesome. Did you know ahead of time did you set out to start something like that, or did it just develop?
It grew organically. Yeah. It was it just, oh gosh, it was so long ago. It just felt like the right thing. It felt like it was an underserved market. Like I was an underserved market. So it was, we built the house that we needed,
What's your background? What kind of, I don't really know what you did before.
I was a corporate accountant. I worked for a large accounting firm. I was in auditing. And then I worked in corporate finance at a Fortune 500 company. And when I had my fourth child, I stayed home to raise my kids, and blogging sort of grew out of that. I started an anonymous humor blog. I love Irma Bombeck. The first day I started my blog, I wrote down on a Post-it note, what would Irma do? And those were kind of my rules for blogging when I started. And, it's hard to be funny all the time.
You are funny. I don't even try to be funny, but people laugh at me, so I just take it as me being funny. Do you have a motivation to, that helps you to accomplish your goals? What is it that you really use to focus and to get yourself to where you are today and where you want to go? What motivates?
I've always been a helper. I like to help people, and so for me, we really see who we're helping. It's a very close group. It's a good size, but not so big that it's. I don't feel like I couldn't know everybody that I needed to know or who I wanted to know in the group. But there's nobody out there doing this for us, so we have to do it for ourselves.
Right. And do you have any examples of some situation that you may have seen a difference in somebody because of your involvement?
We have women in the group who have set goals and then reach them through the connections that they've made. A lot of women have started writing for Huffington Post since they've joined our group. They have Huffington Post has a vertical over 50, and we have a lot of writers there who are in our group, and they publish really good stuff. Right. And it's fun. It's so fun. You meet the best people. Like there were great podcasters, lots of talk about Meerkat at NMX. I think NMX is a great conference for content creators, particularly podcast and video content creators. I would not hesitate to recommend that, and I'm look forward to going back next year.
That's awesome. We are going to have such a great time.
Yeah.
What is the core value that matters to you most, you personally? What do you stand for?
Oh wow, core value. That's tough. You sprung that one on me.
Are you had it for a while?
It has to be win-win. I always try to go for the win-win. I like, certainly I want it to work for me, but I'm happiest when it helps somebody else out too.
That is beautiful. That's great, because I think that's how it should be. A lot of people mistake when we say to serve others and you'll be happy or whatever, that means that you have to not take care of yourself. But we still have to take care of ourselves, Yeah. I like that win-win mentality. That's awesome.
Yeah, because I think everybody's got those voices in their head that tell them they're too whatever. They're too old. They're not smart enough. I certainly am worried about doing video. Women care about what they look like. But you just have to kind of get over yourself and do it anyway. Men don't care. Men don't care.
Well,
Right, Gene Walters hair?
Yeah, we do to a point. Yeah.
I spent 15 minutes putting on makeup.
Um,
I did too.
I spent a couple minutes putting on some clothes.
I brushed my teeth.
Thank you. Thank you for putting on clothes for my show. I really appreciate the dress.
Yes, I'm appropriate.
And what is your guilty pleasure? What would be the
Ooh, guilty pleasure. I just answered a question about this. It shouldn't be too hard. On the weekends, I like to read in bed, and really it makes me extremely happy if somebody brings me a cup of coffee. That's like bliss for me. Sleeping in, well, laying in, reading a book, and drinking coffee.
black coffee in bed? Is that like the song?
No, oh, yeah, like the Squeeze, by Squeeze. Yeah, I have that on CD. No, light and sweet, like me.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
You, I love it.
Also, I love old movies from the 30s and 40s. We're trying to cut cable, but I'm only enticed now that I found out that I can get Turner Classic Movies on Sling TV. Yeah. I'm like all in now. All in.
I've cut cable last year. It was the best thing I've done. It's awesome.
I want three things. I want to be able to watch Turner Classic Movies. I want to watch The Walking Dead when The Walking Dead is on broadcast, and I want to watch Game of Thrones when Game of Thrones is on broadcast.
Yes.
Those three channels, I need nothing else.
I agree with the two for sure.
I'm like shaking my head, quiet. Don't look at me. Don't call on me. I have not seen either of those.
It's a must.
Yes, I know.
And they're not vital to life. They're just a nice little extra.
They're your guilty pleasure. To me,
Oh, Susan reminds me about the Food Network. Oh gosh, I don't. Well, we'll see. I think three things is as much as I can make a must.
I can't say enough about Meerkat. I know Periscope is the same way. But if you love food shows, you're gonna love live streaming of restaurants and people cooking.
Susan, you should do that, Susan.
It is so much fun, and people there's a chef in Sweden who has the camera on him as he's preparing the food. It's amazing. So,
yeah.
So, what makes you happiest? What's the one thing that makes you the happiest over everything?
Oh, when all four of my kids are here with me and my husband. My sons are grown, so it doesn't happen every day.
You have 4 sons?
I have 2 adult sons and 2 teenage daughters.
Oh.
So I listen to a lot of Taylor Swift. Yeah, 4 kids.
I have 3 boys, and they like Taylor Swift too, but not because they like to listen to her. So yeah, that's I know exactly what you mean, and I bet Jay does too. Like when everybody's home, it's just that safe spot when you know that everyone's happy and home. I love that.
And it only happens like once or twice a year because they're in that stage of life to where, they're doing their own thing as they should be.
Right. Absolutely.
I don't like it though. I did not sign up for this.
I'm struggling with that because mine are 18 and just about to turn 20. So I have to kind of softly push them, but also try not to. I don't know. It's really it's hard. It's hard. I'll be tuning in to all of you get advice very soon. Well, I was wondering. Here's another question for you. I hate to put you on the spot, but these are my questions. It's 10 minutes in Tinseltown. Where would you go if you could travel in time?
I would like to meet Eleanor of Aquitaine. I think that would be cool. She was badass.
Right over my head. Eleanor of Aquitaine?
Oh, yes. She was fantastic. My grandfather was really into genealogy, and they had traced our family tree back all the way to Eleanor of Aquitaine. And I don't believe it because you never know. Genealogy's an art as much as a science because, prove it. But I always thought that was cool. I'm descended from Eleanor of Aquitaine, and I don't think she had to put up with the stuff I have to put up with.
What did she have to put
That's
up
like
with?
my mantra.
What era was that?
Oh, at least 1,000 years ago.
Okay.
Like her son was Richard the Lionheart and King John. So Robin Hood. Robin Hood's fictional, most likely, but Robin Hood times. I always think, crow's feet, Eleanor of Aquitaine did not have to put up with this BS. Yes, Susan, what would Eleanor of Aquitaine do? Not put up with this.
That's pretty.
When I'm cleaning a toilet or washing some underpants again, I think Eleanor of Aquitaine would not have to do this.
Yeah, I don't want to think about
Basically, I want serfs.
A
minion or two.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm like, I like to do laundry, but every once in a while I'll be in there and I'll be like, I have a 5-year college degree in accounting. Why am I doing this?
Oh, I taught my boys how to do laundry at very young, under 10, and they still do their own laundry.
My kids do, but I'm a laundry control freak. I like to do it. It turns out perfectly. I fold it a certain way. I like it.
My wife's the same way.
No.
But I mean, it's a love-hate thing. I'm like, I have washed these things. I've washed this towel 100 times, and I'll wash it 100 more times.
Before kids, but not. Okay, well, that's pretty neat. Little tidbit. Thank you very much for sharing that. Jay, has anything come to mind that you want to ask, or did you have anything?
Actually, I wanted to ask more about your BAMCOM. What exactly is it, and when is it? I know you said when it was, but what is it? Who are some of the speakers? What type of stuff are we going to learn?
Well, we just had our first one in March in Nashville. Okay. We had 100+ women, all writers, all bloggers. We had sponsors like Stouffer's, Nissan. Wow. Help me out, Susan. Always. And then some blogger networks were there, like Vibrant Nation and Collective Bias. So we had an unfortunate ice storm. So we had a little bit of attrition in our attendees, but it was a success enough to where we're planning the next one for April 15th and 16th, 2016 at the JW Marriott Resort in Las Vegas. We're doubling in size to more than 200 attendees. It's a beautiful venue. I went there when I was in Las Vegas for NMX and did a tour, and I'm going back out there again with my business partners to plan all the awesome special stuff we're going to do next year. We want to really up our game next year. We had speakers like Elisa Camahort Page, who's one of the founders of BlogHer. Marty Duncan, who was a contestant on a Food Network show. What was that show, Susan? What was Marty on? Next Food Network star. She was fantastic. Oh, okay. She was brought in by Stouffer's, and we just really loved her. And then syndicated humor columnist Tracy Beckerman spoke as well. So we talked about media kits, we talked about editing, we talked about making a big change in mid-career, and then it was just nice to meet and hang out with everybody.
Basically, a lot of networking as well.
Yes. Now it's all. I mean, for us, the first year was really about coming together as a community, and we want to build on that next year. And our education, we focus on the technical skills that bloggers, specifically bloggers, need. Things to help your blog and help your business of blogging. But then also, we want to focus on writing skills. I think that's a real strength of our community is excellent writing skills. And more than just blogging, very often they want to write a memoir, publish their novel, write for magazines and online publications for money.
Yeah.
They want a career, they want to get paid, and they should be paid.
If I could play devil's advocate, covert patron, I have to tell you about him. His name is Kevin. But he says, how come women have so many segregated groups that want to blog about equality?
I don't write about equality. I write about Tide Pods and getting my kid into college. I think for us, we're not anti-men at all. We would have men speakers. I mean, I'd sell a ticket to a man, show up. You're going to hear a lot about estrogen. I think we are in a time of our lives where we're sharing. There are a lot of changes going on. Women are ending relationships, starting new relationships. Kids are moving out or entering a new phase. That's very, very different than I think what we thought about and expected. And we want to be with some other people who get what we're going through. And it's not to exclude anybody. I don't care to exclude anybody. I'm in a lot of groups that are, you can be in a million different groups. This group provides this one thing. We have one thing in common. We're all women. We're all over 40. Like I said, we're not all moms. We're not all married, but we're women who write.
What would be your most memorable campaign that you've done?
Oh, that's tough. Oh, I think probably the one that had the best unexpected benefit. I worked through a network with Kotex, and they had a hard time. I think they had a hard time finding moms with girls who were tweens, entering their tween years, and needing their new tween age line that they're making. Sorry, Jay, put your fingers in your ears.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, it's strictly rated G here. Okay. But so I had to write 6 posts, and I hired one of my daughters to write with me. So we talked about her experience and how we talked about ushering her into young womanhood and all that. And my dad was like, I just read about your daughter's period on your blog. And I was like, Daddy, it was really, really tame, completely tame.
Wow.
Nothing embarrassing at all. And he was like, I don't even want to know she has it. And he's never read my blog since. So I'm very grateful.
Oh, that was the perfect. Keep Dad off of the blog.
Dad's like, Grandpa out. And I was like, oh, I'm going to miss you, Dad. Not really.
Well, I have a teenage daughter, so I can relate.
Yeah. I mean, we just talked about, we didn't talk about anything that Dad wouldn't have wanted to read. He just was,
Yeah. Dads don't normally want to read about something like that. That's for sure.
Yeah, especially his granddaughter. Yeah, he was like, nope, I'm out.
My dad never said that word, period, ever. That was not something he would say. It was like your time or not feeling well. That was pretty much the extent of the conversation.
Well, I've learned not to even ask about it, okay? I've learned that over the years. Just stay away. Stay away.
Yeah, just bring me chocolate and do not make eye contact.
That's exactly what I do for my wife. Here's chocolate.
Don't taunt Happy Fun Ball.
Yeah. Jay was just telling me that, and I said, well, I get pretty moody. If you're going to work with me, you got to know when to back off. And I said, and you need to know when to back away slowly.
Just
throw the chocolates in the room.
The chocolates, back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. I expected you to say some fancy, well, not that Kotex is a brand that everybody knows, but.
No, I love working with Kotex. They were great.
That's pretty cool.
A huge brand.
Yeah. What I like, I worked through a network, and I like working through networks. There are some great networks out there. That's how I started working with brands. You get jobs where really you're going through a middleman, and that's a good way to learn how to do a good job. But then after you go to conferences and you make connections, then you're very often hired directly either by the brand if they run their own campaigns or by their PR firm. And that's the next step up. You make more money. You could be more creative. And I really enjoy that type of work. A lot of times it's great professional people. Yeah. And also money. Money's nice. Yeah. Like they'll send you to an amazing event and that's what you get. They're trading you experience for your social media coverage, for your platform. And I work with Johnson & Johnson Global Health because social good is super important to me. For me, that's one of the most rewarding things for blogging is the social good work. I work with Shot at Life. I'm in my 3rd year as a champion volunteer for them. And part of that is Thursday, I'm going to a cocktail party with the photographer Ann Geddes. She works with Shot at Life as well. So for me, I get to meet Ann Geddes. So that's worth it to me.
Right.
Johnson & Johnson flew me to New York City a couple of months ago to go to the Global Plus Moms event, the Global Moms event. I wrote for them on Huffington Post. I wrote for them on my blog to cover the Global Moms event. And I got to see in a small group, who was it? Jennifer Garner, again, Ann Geddes. And then just learn a lot about the global outreach, the social good that the corporation does. And for me, that's very rewarding.
Yeah,
and you can, I'm sorry, go
I was
ahead.
going to say, I find it all very rewarding, and
Yeah. Well, money is the most rewarding. Money is a good way to keep score.
Money would help me to, I don't know, value. That's what it comes down to, the value that you're putting into it. And,
Yeah.
compensation is what's good.
But for me, with Johnson & Johnson, what they provide me is the experience. But I mean, they don't pay cash money, and I don't think they should, because they provided my way there. I think that is sufficient for that relationship.
Right. That's pretty cool. So do you have a favorite blog that you read?
A couple. I like funny women. I like funny people, but mostly because of the niche I'm in, I read a lot of other women's blogs. I love Wendy Aarons. She makes me laugh every single time. Tracy Beckerman, who is the funniest person I know in real life. Elaine Ambrose, she's so funny. Vicki Claflin, I always say her name wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Claflin. Vicki Claflin. I know I'm missing people who I adore and read all the time. For me, those people are inbox worthy. That's, if I sign up to have your blog come to my email, that does not happen very often. You're inbox worthy. Yeah. My friend Amira Martin has a great frugal blog called 4 Hats and Frugal. She's fantastic. She's a young mom with 3 kids. She is a military reserve and focuses on frugal and fashion. And she's just got a great voice. I love Amira. The Cubicle Chick, my friend Danielle Little, she writes about work from her previous HR experience. So she writes about professionalism and doing a good job. And I think that'd be especially good for people who are working a full-time job like you and also doing the blog biz. But thecubiclechick.com is great.
Down the Cubicle Chick. I think that does sound a little familiar.
Yeah, Danielle is wonderful. For food blogs, for food, I love food blogs. I guess one of the first food blogs I read was The Pioneer Woman. That's the classic. She's fantastic. I love my friend Susan's blog, thatsusanwilliams.com. Write that down. She's awesome. And she's the food blogger on my site, Midlife Boulevard.
Hey.
She is a true artist for fresh, delicious food. She just wrote a salsa recipe for us where you could make it 2 ways. You could roast your own tomatoes under the broiler and get them charred up and, make them delicious that way. Or you can open a can of fire roasted tomatoes from the grocery store. And either way, one way you'll have amazing salsa. Another way you will have good enough salsa to go in your mouth that will make your mouth happy.
Make your mouth happy.
Because everything else is fresh, fresh, chop the onions, fresh cilantro, chop up a jalapeno, canned tomatoes. It's so good.
Okay, so if your mouth is watering right now, you want to make sure you check out Boulevard and the styling and writing of our friend Susan. That's Susan W. So why don't you go ahead and tell us where we can connect with you slowly and spell it out. So everybody who's here, I just want to tell you that we've had 394 people come through the stream, and we have 61 here now. So
for my big white face. I'm so reflective. I was trying to adjust the light, and I just can't get the light right.
You're fine. They're listening to you, and you're awesome. So tell us how we can connect with you, Dan.
My website is Midlife Boulevard. Don't make me spell it. And on Twitter, it's Midlife BLVD, at Midlife BLVD. Okay. And that's my main site. We publish 15 plus pieces of content a week. We have paid columnists like Susan. We have a women's sexual health columnist, Walker Thornton, who is very, very classy when she talks about what she talks about. It's your mom could read it. You wouldn't be embarrassed. She'd learn something. And she'd learn something. We have, now I started naming people and I'm going to forget. Linda Bernstein writes tech for us. Susan does our food. Dr. Margaret Rutherford does our mental health column. She's fantastic. And then every week on Tuesday, we have Pam Luttrell from Over 50 Feeling 40, who talks about style for women over 40. She's got a great aesthetic. She's a fashion blogger from Texas, and very relatable. I love her bunches. Susan, am I leaving anybody out? I think that's all of our columnists. But we also curate the best writing of women in our group, and anyone can apply to write for us. We're like Huffington Post. We accept contributions that way. And if they're interested in writing for us, they can contact me at Anne, with an E, so ANNE, at midlifeboulevard.com.
And that's Boulevard spelled out?
BOULEVARD. Yes, spelled out for my email. And with an E at midlifeboulevard.com.
Okay. I said I'm a fan of yours, well spoken. And you know what? I'm a fan of Anne's too. You are amazing, and I thank you so much for being on 10 Minutes in Tinseltown. The hour went by pretty fast.
It was 60 minutes in Tinseltown.
Yeah, 10
Thanks a lot. I was super nervous, but you guys are nice, and I don't feel like I made too big an idiot out of myself.
No, not at all. You know, I have been told that it's a misrepresentation because it's not 10 minutes, but it's more like 15 minutes of fame. You know, you have your 10 minutes of being in the limelight and to show how you shine, and you are a superstar.
Oh, thank you. I don't like the limelight. I like to help other people shine. I like to be the person backstage who helps you get on stage and then claps for you really loudly.
Well, you are a superstar to me. Thank you so much for being here.
It was so nice to meet you, Jay.